Here's the thing about managing properties is like they're going to come through the trap at some
Yeah.
point. So
Yeah.
it's just a matter of waiting for the right. Like if you set a property up well enough, and I don't know if this is the right way to describe it or not. It's like it's not like I have to go and invade his bedding area or do these different
Yeah.
things. I've developed the property to a point now where there's ambush points that work. They're
Yeah.
bulletproof, and I can access them and hunt them safely. And if I do that according to the right weather patterns and stuff, and at the right time, and when the cameras tell us that it's time to do it, then yeah,
Yeah.
we'll,
You
we'll
kill 'em.
catch up with them all
Yeah.
of them.
Welcome to the Just Hunt podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Just Hunt Podcast. This is episode 53, and tonight we have Jared Prusia from the HUNTR podcast in, and I'm excited to have him on. Welcome.
Thank you guys for having me.
Your podcast, I think, is it's my favorite. I don't listen to a ton of hunting podcasts anymore, but I listen to almost
Come on,
every.
Ray, you don't have to say that.
No, really, I listen to every one of your episodes. I do. You're probably my favorite hunting podcast. So you guys do a
That's
really
cool.
nice
Thank
job.
you, appreciate it.
Yeah. I'm really interested in the stuff that you're talking about, and I think you talk about and get into some topics that I don't know, things get a little hairy sometimes, but I think you guys do a great job of navigating that and pushing the envelope on certain topics and with certain guests and kind of getting good information. And you in particular don't let guys off the hook with stuff, which I really appreciate. And you're super respectful, and the way you do it is tactful, and you don't do it in like a nasty way, but you do a really good job of that. So, I was excited to get you on, talk a little bit about the HUNTR podcast and then some of the stuff you got going on the hunting side.
Thank you. Yeah, honored to be on, man. And honestly, and I appreciate the the compliment there. It's really not that intentional. Like if I'm being honest, it's coming from a place, I feel of just real passion for hunting
Yeah.
and for the sport and for the industry, and I feel like we have something to contribute. And I really love learning from people too and about people. And so it's so easy to have those conversations when you have the commonality of a passion for bow hunting. Or land management, or whatever it is. Everybody, we can find something with everybody, so we can establish that line of respect. And then I'm just genuinely passionate and curious to know what they have to say. And so, I think today we filmed episode 322 or something like that, and we're only numbering the long form stuff. So we don't do any of the farm companions, the hunt companions, the week to week stuff, and all of those. I think they average 2 and 2.5 hours, and like even today, it was just Jeremy and I. There's no guests. And I could just tell you sincerely, I have never one time gotten like, oh, I'm kind of bored of this, or I'm like, I feel like we've run out of things to talk about. And I don't know how that's happened, but we're still enjoying it very much. So
It's great. So when you guys started it, what was the reason? Like, how did it start? What was the concept behind it and the thought process? It's been super successful, but you couldn't have known it when you started that it was going to be so
no,
successful.
we didn't plan that either. So truthfully, it was. I worked for Jeremy at his marketing agency, which is Stone Road Media, for 6, 7, 8 years before the idea kind of came about. Even before that, a common relationship here is I got introduced to Jeremy by Bill Winke,
Oh, did
who
you?
out of college, like my junior or senior year, I reached out to when they were doing their internship program. And I said, hey, basically I submitted my application via email, and I gave him this long spiel about who I was and what I was looking to do kind of thing. And Bill kind of defaulted to like, hey, we do more video production here. I don't know if this is exactly like what you're looking for. However, there's a guy that's working here, on our farm quite a bit. And it was Jeremy via the Cabela's title sponsorship. Jeremy was working for Cabela's at the time. He connected Jeremy and I. Jeremy happened to be from, essentially my hometown or nearby here, and was starting this digital marketing agency while he was still at Cabela's. So long story short, Jeremy ended up hiring me. He ended up moving back a few years later. I worked for him for several years. And, a big part of what we would do there is we're running paid advertisements, building websites, do graphics, social media for hook and bullet, type clients. So GSM was a big client. Run down the list. There's been, dozens of them over the years. And a common theme was that they all or a lot of them anyways, lacked content for us to frankly do our jobs with. They're like, well, run these ads. And we're like, okay, with what? What, do you have a video ready to go, or, some images that we can use? And they never did. They were lacking that component, and they expected it just to exist or happen somehow. So I saw that happening, and at a certain point, that was my excuse to like nudge Jeremy into like, we were working a lot and burning ourselves out and stuff, and not getting to hunt as much as you'd hope in the hunting industry kind of thing. So at a certain point, I started pushing Jeremy to be like, dude, we could kind of birth we could use this to facilitate building our own brand and use it to accomplish these, other brand goals and stuff along the way. And, it'd be kind of a win-win for everybody. We get to hunt more. These, we have things we need to do our job, and these brands would get their content. And so that was kind of the idea, and we were gonna film a show essentially. It's like, well, because that's what you do essentially. It's like, well, let's film some hunts, and let's make some content kind of a thing. And so that was the idea. And I think at a certain point we plugged in the podcast as just kind of a filler, like to start it up. I was like, hey, we do this so much anyways. We spend 2-3 hours a day in the office just talking strategy and hunting and scheming and stuff. Like, let's just get on a microphone and make that some background noise while we're getting these hunts filmed and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And the hunts and our plan for that whole TV side of filmed hunt side of things just never really manifested. I think the reality was like, we don't live in Iowa first and foremost. An encounter with a big buck is just super rare. It's like if we see one per year at that time, it was like, you're really doing something, and that's just not exciting enough, for what our vision was there. And so eventually, I think that dream was kind of like, maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. And at a certain point, the podcast started catching some momentum there, out of just, I don't know. We tried to do it well, and, it found out that we had something to say. I think is a big part of it. I think people enjoyed Jeremy and I's dynamic, like the fact that we disagree on a lot of things, but there's a baseline of respect. Mm-hmm. We can make a lot of progress with conversations just between he and I, and then eventually roping in guests and stuff. And then, I don't know. I think we're in our 6th year now. Here we are. This is kind of how it went. Yeah.
So it was almost kind of like an afterthought then?
It was like an accident.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that. I thought, of course, what do I know? But I thought you guys had started the podcast, and then we're like, oh, we're getting a bit of a following. Let's try to video some of the stuff. I didn't realize it was the other way around, which is interesting.
Well, you know what? Later on, we've come around and said, hey, I think people can only listen to us. Is that how I felt anyways, where people just really were expressing in the comments and stuff that they wanted to see some of what we're talking about. And I felt like we owed the audience that we had built at that point some of that. Sure. So today we do a little bit of filming. It's pretty rudimentary. It's not super high-end production. Maybe that will evolve in the future.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Cool. What are you guys do? So the where I really think you've done a good job lately is you've dipped your toe into the game laws and state agency arena and really started to, I think, make an impact on that type of stuff. And I feel like it's something that we've considered joining you with as well on our end, not in your podcast, but in tandem to, I think that the more people talking about that and being aware and communicating, I think the better chance we have of basically having a hunting landscape that people are happy with. And if people don't speak up and communicate, then it's not going to happen. We're just going to leave it up to the same old people at the state agencies, and they're going to do what they're going to do. And we can complain on social media all you want or to your buddies, but unless you have a platform and actually take a stance and have these discussions, nothing's going to get done. So I think that's been something that you guys have really leaned into. Has that been a conscious effort, or was that also kind of by accident, but then maybe more so conscious now?
Yeah, well, I mean, you're not wrong. We definitely have leaned into that. And, to be honest, it's possibly at the detriment of building even a bigger platform or a show. I realize and I'm aware of the fact that just people don't always want to listen to negativity and stuff, and I realize that, and we try not to fall into that rut or that trap of just constantly complaining and stuff. But I do really feel like there is there's a need, for somebody to speak up
Yeah.
about it. And I mean, really at the time, if they were, I don't know where it was, or, and I'm not saying like we originated these ideas, by any means, but I do think we were some of the first to talk about it publicly, because we didn't and still really don't have anything to lose regarding just speaking openly and truthfully about that stuff. And it doesn't mean that we're right about everything, or that everybody will agree. And clearly, I mean, if you read our comments, you'll see that there's a lot of resistance and naysayers to stuff, which I'm all for. I'm not looking for agreeance. I'm just looking for conversation. And I mean, because I think if we don't talk about it, it's just we're going to continue to slip down this slope of, like, we see more and more technology, but being forced down our throats, essentially looser and looser regulation and liberal season dates and bag limits. And we've learned a lot by talking to people in different state and game agencies, how the different departments work. And unfortunately, it's kind of like sad when you realize, like, they do not care about the quality of the herd, whatsoever. I mean, they might personally or on the side be like, hey, I like to see a big buck as much as anybody, but they're not going to make a management decision based on the quality of the deer herd outside of essentially Iowa is Jace is their whitetail herd biologist. He's about the only one we've ever had on that said that, hey, we base a lot of our decisions on that's why people want to come here. That's why how our license sales continue to generate revenue. That's why we still have access in the state here. And man, it's not even that there's so many issues. It's just like every state that has potential is like one or two or maybe three, like what I think are pretty simple regulation changes away from, like, night and day experience for people.
That's something I've been saying and like realizing lately that a lot of these states are like, they're like teetering on the brink of being exceptional or terrible. And they're like, you're right, it's like one or two regulations and they just fall one side or the other. And I don't think that many people realize that there is not a lot of difference between a great deer herd and one that's subpar. Like and it can happen quickly and go in either direction.
And all you have to do is look at the ones that are doing it right and just copy it. I'm not saying every state politics or culture and stuff are exactly the same, but like there's some fundamental principles that apply. A deer is a deer is a deer, essentially.
For sure. Yeah, no, it's interesting that it is a balancing act, and then it can go either way so easily. And then, like you said, every state has its unique set of challenges, not only like the deer themselves and like the landscape, but then the politics side. It seems like every state's slightly different in how they run things and how decisions are made and who yields or wields the power to make those decisions. And even though, I mean, I've talked to some biologists that seem like they want to do, I don't know if you should call it the right thing, but something that would agree with, and they just can't. They just can't.
We've talked to a lot of the state biologists, and they're great people in a lot of cases, and I think a lot of them do care. They come from a hunting background. Unfortunately, the people who make the decisions could care less. It's literally, hey, thanks for your input, appreciate that. They're basically employed as a formality.
Yeah. That's rough.
Because they'll tell you to their face. The biologists will say, I agree with you, Jared and Jeremy. What you're saying is biologically correct. And no, I cannot advise that this is correct. And yet the state continues, because they don't want to rock the boat. They don't want to upset, whoever. I mean, they don't want to see a decline in license sales. They don't want to see even a slight, uptick or something that would indicate that they're not killing as many deer. That's the number one objective of 90% of the states at this point is kill more deer.
Just that bottom line
because
number.
Hunters are just being more selective. We have more technology. And guess what? We all want to shoot bucks. So we pass on, 1 and 2 year old bucks, and we don't shoot any does anymore. And we just go in when the time is right and sit over our corn pile and we shoot the 3+ year old buck. And that's it. And we don't let anybody else on the property.
Yeah.
And here we are.
Yeah. That's it in a nutshell.
It's that simple. It's like 80% of states. It's like they'll sit there and nod their heads. They're like, yeah, that is what we're seeing. We can't figure it out.
Have you guys gotten any feedback? Like, has anybody reached out to you super negatively, kind of behind the scenes, trying to get you to maybe not talk about certain things as much or anything like that?
Uh, no,
No outside pressure like that.
no.
That's good. I mean,
Almost all of them. Some feel the pressure. Like some folks that I've called out personally
yeah,
because they're pussing out on their position, in
Yeah.
my opinion. They have said, "Hey, listen, here's why," trust me, you want this or that, and there's some fear mongering that happens and stuff, but it's one or two people. Generally, no, they're like, yeah, that's exactly right. We see the degradation of the American family and hunting along with it, and we don't know why we can't get people to shoot does, and it's just a whole lot of like they know what the right thing to do is, but they won't do it because they're afraid to upset people. They're afraid to lose their position of whatever that is, and it's a vicious cycle.
Let's talk about the doe thing because we did a podcast recently about some of the New York regs. I know we were talking to you guys a little bit about it. Or you did one with Eric, that's right. And then we did one as well. It seems like what do you think the biggest obstacle besides what you just said? Everybody wants to go in and kill that 3+ year old and be done. Other than that, what's the biggest obstacle that you guys have kind of concluded that stands in the way of killing more does?
I mean, it is a fairly complex issue in that it's not just one thing. I do think a bunch of those things that I rattled off are correct. We don't have the deer camps in the way that we did. We don't. It's not the hunting camp mentality, and that we're going deer hunting kind of a thing. Along with that, we don't rely on venison as a food source. I don't think nearly as much, either just for preference options. Certainly processing has become, a little bit more challenging. There's not many places to take your deer. It's any number of reasons there. On the hunting access, regulation side of things, I think that we know more about, and we've become obsessed with antlers and stuff, which I do think there's some negative to that. So a lot of us are just solely focused on, the buck that we're after. And, if there's not a doe season that runs, outside of a buck season, which there's not in quite a few states, we're just scared to, we're not gonna harvest a doe when we could potentially jeopardize an opportunity at a buck, when we're all in such high competition with our neighbors because everybody's got our cell cameras and if you bump the buck off one time, I mean, that could be it. The stakes are high. The competition that's kind of the state that we're in. So I think for all those reasons, unless somebody is really, really intentional about and understands that, hey, listen, my hunting overall will be better if I do harvest those, and it's an opportunity to get kids involved, to supply food, to, all these good things, and you're really intentional about it, and you set time aside and put the effort in to do it because it's a lot of work, to shoot as many does that probably need to be shot. It just doesn't get done. And 50%, and on the other half, dude, people can't get access. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All the guys that want to shoot bucks
Yeah.
and stuff,
That
they're
was
doing
one
what
of
I
the-
said earlier. They're locking the properties up. They're monitoring them with cameras. Maybe there's 5-10 neighbors that would love to shoot does, but like this guy's not gonna let them on. He's from out of state and he leases it and he's waiting for that one buck to show up, and that's it.
That was after we put that podcast out. That was by far, because I went through and read all the comments as they came in. There was like a few hundred of them, and that was by and large the biggest issue people were complaining about was just access around. They were saying all these big farmers need to incentivize hunters somehow or farmers to let people hunt their properties, and they were saying they were having a hard time getting tags or just having a place to go because all the public spots that are around were pretty much decimated.
Yeah, because you don't really need does killed on public land, right? Like most of the public land isn't extremely overrun with deer, so it's probably mostly the private land, and then you're right, access is tough, and then the select few that can hunt because they have that access are probably focused on killing a buck and not killing does.
Well, the farmer's got a choice. If he's in good deer country, somebody wants to lease the ground.
Right.
To hunt bucks, probably from out of state or maybe from a city within the state kind of thing. So his choice, but on the other side, he wants deer killed because his crops are suffering. Yeah. So does he, turn down the $50 to $100 an acre for the guy that's going to come in and run cell cameras and shoot one or two deer off of it per season? 9 times out of 10, they're going to take the money and just deal with the fact that there's a bunch of deer there.
Yeah, it's a tough one. The other thing that like you said, so you guys do on your farm, you kill a bunch of does during a weekend or something, right? You do that?
In Ohio, we do.
How do you, so we do a similar thing, but how does that go for you all? How do you do it?
Well, I can tell you what I don't like about it is that we don't have a dedicated doe season. If we did, I would. And don't get me wrong, I am enthusiastic about it. It's a great thing that we do. I enjoy getting the kids out there. It scares me to death every time we do it because it's during the gun seasons when guys can shoot bucks. And I know that there's people on the property lines and hunting neighboring properties. And so we're running that risk, of pushing bucks off and stuff. But it's one of those things where, dad owns the property and I would like to see doe shot. And it's just kind of, we do what we have to do kind of thing. But to answer your question, we bring in, 8 or 10 kids, every year typically from dad's church, like friends of friends and, just kids that would like to do it and stuff. And we put them out in good spots, and some are fairly independent, the 12 to 15-year-old kids, and the younger kids sit with their parents, typically in a box blind or something. And we dump corn piles and we wail away at them.
Yeah.
How many do you kill typically?
I think last year we shot 10 or 15 and 2 sets.
Pretty good.
Was last year the most ever that we had killed? I can't remember.
Yeah, we weren't 2 sets. We were probably stretched out over 4 days. I think we killed 20 something, but but yeah, no, I mean we do a really similar thing. How do you deal with processing after that?
We just get our hands dirty, man. Assembly line.
You do. Okay, so it's a group thing where you guys just everybody pitches in and gets it done.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
How long did that take you to get through 15 deer?
Honestly, dad shoulders a lot of it. I know it's been quite a job for him, but I mean, I would say start to finish because everybody leaves there with sausages, ground, seasoned, fully processed. I mean, it's a full day of just processing.
Yeah, for sure.
See, I see that being one of the biggest obstacles to this, the doe harvest, is that part of it. And I don't know how you solve that. Because, even myself, I like to shoot does, but sometimes I'm like, I just don't have time to deal with this thing tonight. I get stuff to do tomorrow, and it's, and I'm like trying to, and I do it, and I shoot plenty of them, but I bet I'd shoot more or, be more apt to do it. And I just wonder if there's a way. I know
there's donation programs.
You guys do have them there?
We do. You know what? I've never just personally connected with and like made a successful transaction with a donation, but I have heard it's like hunters and hunters and something feeding the hungry. I think there's a somewhat local like chapter to where we're at there. So it's just a matter of getting connected, and I do think they'll take a field dress deer for free.
Really?
Okay.
As a donation.
I was going to ask that.
I wonder how they're running those programs, because I feel like I don't think there's anything in the Northeast. I know Ohio's. Ohio's Midwest to me personally, but I know it's not to you. I kind of feel like that's the edge of it. Although I can see that, especially Eastern, how it could be, the case could be made that it's Northeast. But we'll say New England, Northeast. I don't think there's anything like that. But I will say,
that I've heard of.
When you're talking like Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, or Maine. There's not a whole lot of deer to donate anyway, because the success rate's just not that high and the deer densities aren't that high. But you get into Massachusetts and Connecticut and Jersey and New York, PA, and there's a lot of deer, and I just don't know of many programs that do that. And I don't know, maybe do you know if those programs are underutilized, or are people? Yeah, you think so?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't think they have a big advertising budget or anything. They take what they can get, and we found out about ours by complaining about it on the podcast, and then somebody commented, and I've yet to reach out and verify that they'll take our deer and stuff. But before this next Doe Fest, I will, and especially because I'd like to increase the number of deer that we still have too many deer, man. I mean, we just are in a situation where we've got a big property, and even though it's not super dense habitat, I mean, if you've been to Ohio, it's big like open canopy timber. Like we have a lot of that, and we're working on it, but I run feeders, and I've got some dedicated food plots, big destination food sources and stuff. And boy, last year, it's just because we're the only ones with food. I almost pulled the trigger on doing a survey, and in hindsight, I wish I would have. But like, I'm part of the farm there where a lot of the stuff is. It's like 350 acres. Boy, there must have been 350
Oh my
deer.
God.
You know what I mean? Like there was a lot of deer. So this coming season, from start to finish, I'd really like to tally up 20 or 30 does. I think that's kind of more in the realm of where we need to be.
Yeah.
Do you, I don't know this, but I feel like, most of we're, Eric's farms are at and mine are, we have pretty high deer density, and, we have some of the best habitat because we manage it, and we have the most food for sure. Like when you're talking mid to late season. And I just wonder, sometimes I don't even know if we're putting a dent in it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, they just keep, I just feel like you take that doe out and then they just fill in and they just keep, they're almost like this ring and you just keep pulling them, and it's like, are we actually doing anything? I don't know. I mean, we still keep shooting them, don't get me wrong, but I sometimes wonder if we're actually even moving the needle, or it's just like a uphill battle we're never going to win with these things, especially when neighbors aren't doing the same thing. I don't know.
Are they doing the same thing?
I don't know. I don't think so. Not to the extent we are, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's hard to know unless you got up with a drone and did a landscape level survey to see how many are actually here. That's how you would know.
The last time we did, it was after the season. It was not this past winter, but the winter before, and we did it on one of the farms, and it was like I had all the deer. They were all there,
Really?
yeah. And then as you got away from the food, it just dispersed, and there was like very little. So I don't know. I mean, maybe we are doing something because we're killing them when they're there, and they're we have the opportunity to. And when they disperse, maybe it's lower in the density in the greater area. But I don't know. Sometimes I just don't know if you're moving the needle. It feels like.
Yeah, I'm curious if what the, like we were saying, if there, I haven't heard of any place around here, but if anybody knows of any, let us know.
What, the donation thing?
Yeah. I was just thinking about that.
I haven't heard anything, yeah.
I have heard of. There was a fair amount of people I saw just advertising stuff like on Facebook, or whatever. They had like carports rigged up with little makeshift coolers and stuff that people had that you could pay by the day, at least during bow season and stuff, just to get by, to buy time. As far
Where
as
was that?
There was some.
Like in New Hampshire?
Yeah,
really?
in M near me. There were a few people that were advertising freezer space early season.
I'll tell you what,
cool.
if I can figure that out, and if I can find a reliable source where I can go and drop field dress does off, right away, I will. And I don't know why we haven't quite yet, but I'll build a cooler that I can hold 10, 15, 20 does in. And I'll just start racking them up. You know what I mean? I'll just throw them over my shoulder and walk out every time I'm out there. And I'll just throw them in the cooler and let them hang for all season. And then I'll just go in and do a mass donation. And I think it'll be easier to meet our goal that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's not like I don't think anybody's particularly like lazy. It's just, it's a chore to kill, double-digit does. It really is. It's just like a huge time sink. Like it's
a logistical issue because you don't want to. If it's warm or whatever, you have crappy weather, then it's an issue taking care of the meat.
And then realistically, like one family can only eat so many deer too. So it's like, you start shooting them and you're like, man, my freezers are packed full, and like my buddies and family members are packed full. And it's like, what am I going to do with these damn things? It's just,
if I'm being honest, like I'm just not a huge venison eater. Like I like it. It's fine. It's not a ribeye,
Yeah.
But so we eat it and I include it in our diet, but like I have a freezer full of it too. And I'm like, I just can't eat it at the pace that like we need to kill them. So donation is a necessity for us.
Yeah.
I can't say the same. We burned through 5 already. I'm already out.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I also have 4 kids that eat it. So we go through a fair amount, but even so, I still couldn't eat. My whole family would not be able to eat all the venison that we need to kill off the farms to keep it down. It's just,
Yeah.
So I think, if you need more, by the way, we talked about this last time, you never picked it up. I have some more if you need it.
All right, perfect. I'm going home with some chicks and
that's right.
baby chickens and some meat. Perfect.
Yeah. Well, that's what it is. It's just work. And the things that used to kill a bunch of deer, like deer drives, and a lot of people having access to properties, like they just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
When we try to diagnose it with, the state agency guys and stuff, it's like the number one thing is like, if you have to have a dedicated doe season that doesn't run concurrently with a buck season. That's going to immediately give the opportunity that everybody that's in our boat of not wanting to jeopardize an opportunity to buck to go and do that.
I agree.
And
with
I think
that one.
I think the time is the tail end of the gun season, sometime later in the season, like once a lot of the archery opportunities have passed there and stuff, not so late that shed bucks are getting taken out at a high rate kind of a thing. And we would be all for that. Give us a week. And I've advocated for everything that I'm against: corn piles, crossbows, cell cams, box blinds. I would do every single one of those things for the whole week of doe season, and we would have an absolute blast, and we would meet our quotas, and everybody would be happy.
Yeah.
I missed it. When did you say you do your Doe Fest?
We do ours. It's always cold. It's got to be. I don't honestly know when Ohio's gun seasons stack up. It's like the second or third gun season, or during the. One. I don't know. During one of the gun seasons.
The second is usually like mid to late December, right? The 15th to 20th time frame. Even sometimes later.
I'm gonna say it's after that. I want to say it's January.
So it'd probably be muzzleloader then.
Yeah, that's like.
Is it muzzleloader?
It could be. I don't hold me to it. I'm not 100%.
Do you go to these, Jared? Are you there present or just?
Well, I do, but I definitely don't coordinate them. Dad's like, "Hey, Doe Fest coming up." He gets it on the calendar. He's all about the.
Okay, I got you.
Organizing stuff. So I show up and I skin all the does and I help put people in spots. And I try not to just rape our property if I can help it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I get it. No, that makes sense. We do ours usually around the first week in December. It's at that tail end of rifle. New York has we have a doe season in September, and I just don't think that works. I mean, I think participation's low. It's warm, and it's it's literally 10 days before you're going to go try to kill your buck on opening night. And it's like
it's too close to that high anticipation of It's the wrong time.
And, the state's like, oh, we don't get much participation. I'm like, I know. It's because it's the timing. And so, and they don't want to move it till later because they don't want to take away from the gun season, and then they don't want to move it to January because of shed bucks, and then there's some conflict with snowmobiles, I think, or something, snowmobile season or something, which I don't really understand.
I mean, dude, in Ohio, our tree season runs from September 28th to February 7th. I'd happily give up, 3-4 days for a dedicated doe season.
Yeah. Well, so, I mean, what are some of the other things that you guys think? I know I've listened and we've talked about it too, so I know the corn. What is the single? Do you think the corn piles is the single? If you had to identify one issue in Ohio, would it be corn piles? If you had to make one change?
It's the lowest hanging fruit for sure.
Yeah. I don't.
It's the one that you can't make a biological argument for. There's nothing. There's zero benefit to the wildlife population, and it causes the greatest amount of conflict. I think just between the hunting community, known or unknown. So I think it's the lowest hanging fruit.
It's crazy that it's been legal for so long, but just now in the past decade, it's become such a huge point of contention. I mean, I remember when I started hunting out there, it was like, people would bait, but it was just not a big. It was like, I don't know, you can bait, but some people do, some people don't. It's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. And now it's
it's just kind of came with the competition.
It's crazy. It probably is with the competition.
Yeah, sort of is. The competition has increased and access has declined. And paired with other technologies is what makes it so deadly. Like a corn pile by itself, without a cell camera, for instance, or a box blind, to sit nearby without being able to get scented, or to be able to sit 50 yards away with a crossbow and fling a short stick at that thing. It's not nearly as effective.
No.
But in conjunction with all of these things, yeah, I mean, I mean, dude, if you can't kill a 3-year-old buck in Ohio, like you're doing something wrong because it's that easy.
Yeah, if you have all those things, I would agree. It's like a sure thing. It's automatic almost if you do it somewhat right and you have somewhat of a approach that.
It's stressful, man. It's to the point where it's like if we have bucks that are, of age that I would like to hunt, it's not a matter of if they get killed. In most cases, it's just when.
Yeah,
It's
they're
like, can I
gonna
kill
die.
them first
Yep.
before the neighbors do?
Yeah, they're gonna
And
die.
then you're constantly flirting the line of like, can I maintain a standard of I want to shoot 5-year-old bucks, knowing that this is what they're up against, and it's really tough. It's really challenging.
Where are you at now with that in that farm? I mean, because you guys have struggled to get deer to the age you want them to. I know you get some, right?
Yeah.
So on that farm in particular, what is your long-term, where are you at right now in your head? Not necessarily everybody.
That's a good question.
Your head.
So here's the thing about me when it comes to deer and my uncle and my dad and I have all butted heads over this pretty hard is I'm pretty stubborn and I'm pretty driven and I believe a lot that I can achieve my goal. And so I would say at this point, not just in Ohio, but anywhere that I hunt whitetails, I have no interest in shooting 4-year-olds.
Okay.
That's kind of where I'm at. I have seen too many live past that age and what they can do, and I've realized that a 4-year-old in a lot of cases is so far from its its greatest potential, not just from antlers, but it's just not the deer that I'm hunting yet. Like I want to hunt a deer that is of an age class because they have a demeanor, a dominance, an attitude, and yes, the antlers come along with that. And for me right now, even though guys could argue, it still is not the absolute peak, but you have to draw the line in the sand somewhere. I'm hunting 5-year-old bucks and older.
So on that farm, you're only after 5-year-olds, and if there isn't one, have you had a year where there hasn't been one to hunt?
Oh yeah.
So, had you made that decision yet or not yet?
Well, and I'll make myself a hypocrite, just right away here. Even last year, dude, I shot a 4-year-old, and I'll spare you the whole story if you want. I can tell it, and I think I did tell you about this was that 196 inch 4-year-old last year.
Yep.
That's one of those cases that's like, I had a lot of history with the deer. I had passed him as a 3-year-old. We found sheds. It was. That's really what I'm about is building a relationship in a storyline with these deer. I mean, that's what gets me, attracted to them. That's what, and so I just go on feel about, which one I'm after. And some properties had changed hands around us and stuff. And I knew, I was like, this deer is not living, past, who knows? So it's like, do I compromise and shoot this 4-year-old deer or just let somebody else have it? And I knew it would happen. I just didn't know how quickly it would happen, right? So that's an example of I succeeded to my or seceded to my own goals there a little bit, and neighbor ended up shooting that deer, opening half hour after daylight, 40 yards, crossbow, corn pile, Amish guy, nice guy, runs over to me, jumps the fence, I shoot him, right? So it's kind of it's a crazy debacle, but ended up giving the guy the deer, and so that's an example of I shot a 4-year-old. To be honest with you, it was cool because on one hand I was like, I didn't have the rush that I would have chasing a deer that was of the age class that I knew deep down that I wanted to be going after. But I made an exception for this deer. Both this guy and I shot this deer. We killed it. There it is. It's dead. I was the first one to walk down and put my hands on it and just check him out and be with the deer and stuff. And dude, if you're just being real with yourself, it wasn't what I'm after. It scored 196 inches. It's a lot of inches of antler, but spindly and young face.
Yeah.
And you just hate to see that. It's and it's not just oh, that deer would have for sure been a 200-inch deer. It's just, it's hard to explain. It's just dude, we're gardening, right? When you get to, it's not public land. It's not oh, I've never seen this deer before.
Yeah.
I knew them intimately. I knew the property. I knew how these deer use the property. So I'm a gardener, right? I'm trying to get these things to ultimate maturity. I'm trying to grow the best crop that I can, and I want to pick them when they're as ripe as they possibly can be. And
Yeah.
he just wasn't there, you know?
Do you think it would have felt different or the same or worse if you had been the only one that shot him?
Not
No.
that part of it.
No. Okay. Yeah.
I would have been happy with the deer, you know. I would have, but
Yeah.
I'm not one of those guys that's like, hey, you got to absolutely be as happy as you can possibly be with every deer that you shoot. That's stupid. Just be real with yourself. You know,
I kind of agree with you on that. Yeah.
like you know, celebrate the deer, honor the deer. You know, you're taking a life. It is a serious thing, but like, be honest with yourself. You're like, is this what I was after? And if not, okay, cherish the deer, celebrate it, mount it, right, and move on, and know how you, and then take how you felt about that and move forward.
Well, and sometimes like it makes sense to shoot deer that like, you know, there's deer that need to be shot that maybe isn't like exactly what you were fired up to hunt. Like those are one example of it, and then other just some, you know, sometimes you need to kill bucks that are taking up space.
Management bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that late season buck you killed last year.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and dude,
like,
you can get excited about,
like,
you can just decide to get excited about, especially a buck of that age class. Like, you should have a free pass to get super excited about that deer because, dude, he's a tank, and he's got every bit of maturity and age and character that you would hope for. Yeah, the headgear is he's not like what you would call a trophy animal in terms of score, but like, dude, those deer are awesome. And we've killed quite a few of them on our farm because high grading is a very real thing. You know, in states where there's high pressure, you see a lot of the bucks that make it to that age class, like they suck at, you know.
I'll show you this one right here because he's so close. Check out this thing. This is January 1st on New York. This thing has been kicking around for 3 years. 5-year-old, but like just like, I don't know, 85 inches or something. And, you know, it's like late season, I was like, all right, I need to kill that sucker if he comes out. And sure enough, literally last 5 minutes of the last night of the muzzleloader, and I'm like, well, you're going to get it. Yeah. And, you know, he's a great buck. I mean, cool character, but like nothing.
He had a big body too, right?
Yeah, he's a mature buck. Yeah. But like, I'd be lying if I said I was like, you know, so like, oh, I'm after this, you know.
It's a different thing. It's a different thing. Yeah, it's just, dude, antlers do something to us. You know, it is hard to describe, and like, so it's cool when you have the opportunity to do both. You know, if you have multiple tags or multiple states where you can have both. That deer right there, and I've shot some of them too, where it's like nobody's gonna stop scrolling on social media to be like, oh, dude, giant. Yeah. But that's not what we're doing it for. You had a relationship with that deer and with the property that you shot it on and stuff, and like, so, and dude, he's an old buck, so I mean, you know how you felt about that, and that's all that matters.
Well, and it's those deer, the deer that take up space where that, you know, 3 or 4-year-old could take up residence. It's going to be a giant.
They need shot. Absolutely.
If you keep passing them, those deer may just never be there. So that's what I'm saying. Sometimes it doesn't. Like you said, it's stupid to not shoot a deer like that when it's like.
What about you guys from an age class? I mean, do you feel a certain way about that? Does it change based on where you're hunting and stuff?
Age, so Matt, you can answer too, but I mean, I like you. I'm looking for 5-year-olds. I did kill a buck. I've killed a couple that were younger in the past couple of years. One I was just wrong on him. It was in Canada, and it was another deer like that. I actually thought even my buddy up there who owns the farm, we thought he was an older buck, but he wasn't. He just fooled me and us, and I shot him, and like, it was a similar situation. We just didn't really have any history. You know, it's like big bush and like so many deer move in, so it's not like you know every single buck that shows up. I mean, they got food in the middle of 1,000 acres of bush, so it's like you don't know. And he was there like 3 or 4 different days, and I was like, I'm going to shoot him if he comes in. He's like, yeah, kill him. And it turns out he was 3, but it was like I don't know, he looked we filmed him for like 20 minutes one day in front of us, and we all looked at him like, oh, it's a 5-year-old buck, and get him out of there. So there's that one. And then actually the buck I killed in Ohio 2 years ago, which was, I mean, it was a 160-inch deer. And I didn't know him either because it was it just like a random, I mean, I'd hunted this farm and ran cameras like 5 or 6 years ago, always had permission, and kind of went back to it. And I was after another deer, and then he showed up like that morning, and I'm like, it's like January. I don't know. It's tough to tell the difference between a 4 and a 6-year-old in January. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Came in, he was
Oh,
big.
yeah.
I shot him. I was like, I don't know, look, probably he was only a 4-year-old.
Is a 4-year-old?
He was a
Guess
4-year-old.
what?
Yeah. So
There's a strong argument to be made, to say basically that you're an idiot if you don't shoot a 160-inch 4-year-old in Ohio.
Yeah.
And I'm the same idiot, right? Because it's like
Yeah.
they're so rare in today's day and age. But
yeah.
I just know how I feel because I've killed them,
Yeah.
and I'm not out there just to punch a tag. I mean, I'm after what I'm after, and dude, they're just a dead deer at the end of it. So I mean, you better have felt, you better have, done your best to achieve your goal. And
I think that if I had, that Iowa buck I showed you earlier, he was 5, but like, I don't know how old that deer is. He looks 5. So I think there's that aspect too. If you don't have the history, you make your best guess and you go with
it. Happens. It will happen to me in the future, 100%.
Yeah, you just don't know.
That are not the age that I think. Yep.
But if I do know, I had a deer in New Hampshire this year that I know he was 4, and I didn't actually pass him, but like I was about to get a shot at him, and I wasn't going to shoot him, and I mean like a big 8 with like a drop tine, 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Buddy found his sheds a couple months, probably 2 months ago. Really nice deer, and like I wasn't going to shoot him, and I think most people would have been like, "You're great." And I'm like, "Yeah, but I know what that deer could be at 5 or 6." Like, and if he doesn't make it, that's fine. Like I'm not worried about it. Like that's cool. Like somebody else shoots him, great, but just not for me. If I know and I can make that decision, but
yeah, dude. And then the years go on, and like that is the role. That's the long term. That's what I love about it at this point. And I'm sure you do too. Is like, whether it was intentional or a mistake, I've missed deer that like 4 years later they're alive, and it's like, holy cow, that and that is, that's what we're after, is the fact that happened and we had that heartbreak, the highs and the lows, and then eventually when you do kill them, regardless of the score, it's like, man, what a journey it was chasing this deer, and he challenged us and we learned something, and if they're high scoring, great, if they're not, then hey, you still have the history there, and it's.
I've been lucky enough. We do get some deer in the Northeast, New England, that get pretty old, right? Like it's
awesome.
We get some pretty good age class, and we have deer that like just keep living a lot of times. Mm-hmm. And they're so cool when they get 7, 8, 9, 10 years old. They're just it's almost like a different thing,
It is.
They're like
100%
dinosaurs. They turn into some. Like the skeletal structure, and their face looks different, and it's just it's so cool when you get to hunt and then hopefully kill an animal that's like that age. It's just they turn into a different thing. And even like last year, I killed one in Maine on an island, and I had hunted him the year before and almost killed him, and then I killed him last September in velvet, and he's like that thing, like 80, 90 inches. But I knew he was I was like, this thing has to have been on this island for like ever. And he was 9.5. And you just think about that deer has been there for 9 years. It's kind of like a wild thought process, just like think about that.
Dude,
9 years.
This guy right here, this Iowa buck, we're pretty sure he was 7.5.
No shit, really.
And what's so cool about that, and like, you don't always know this stuff in the moment. Like, it was the first time I'd ever hunted that farm. It was on one of Bomar's farms.
Yep.
It was the first year he owned the farm. I don't know that he knew the history prior. We just knew, hey, that's a freaking giant.
Yeah.
But afterwards we started digging, found out from neighbors, got pictures, and pieced it all together, and figured out to the best of what we could figure, he was 7.5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then you start to reflect on it, and you're like, man, that was before I even started putting in for points to hunt this state. And then I started thinking about how old was I at that time, and you're like, dude, I was like not anywhere near the bow hunter that I am now, or have the experience that I am now. And so it's definitely an evolution. Like, not everybody should just come into the sport and just be like, oh, I'm going to hunt 5-year-old.
No.
In fact, nobody should do that. You know what I mean? You should just start wherever you want and then enjoy it and see what kind of like trips your trigger a little bit. But like the more you fall in love with the animal and the more experience you gain, and eventually when you just frankly get lucky and kill some, you know, I killed a 170-inch 4-year-old in Ohio, and that for me was like, oh, dude, I got one under my belt now. Now I'm not just going to shoot every 4-year-old that I see. And then they just the pieces start to fall into place. You figure out how to put yourself in position. You go to where big deer are, and you know they just start ending up on your wall. And then it's not that your standard starts to rise, but you know just your expectation starts to. I'm just like, hey, I don't have to kill everything that walks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm happy to eat a tag. I'm here to have the experience that I'm after, which is to kill a mature animal and have an encounter with them that is likely to take years of highs and lows. And I'm going to soak in every moment of it that I can. And so, and every once in a while you have a couple of years like I did last year where I knocked down 3 of them. And it's like, you relish in those and then just try to create the opportunities, you know, as many times in the future for yourself as you can, you know?
So on that note, creating opportunities, you guys, Jeremy, and you guys have been acquiring property, and I want to get into that a little bit. That's something I'm super interested in do myself.
Okay.
You have the family Ohio farm, right? And do you have?
Yeah, my folks own a big farm in Ohio.
Right.
It was an even bigger farm years ago that my grandpa put together. It was cattle farm at one point in time, and there was actually a time where I couldn't hunt any of it because it was all leased out through base camp leasing just to different people. You know, my uncle and my dad managed, or my grandpa managed that and stuff. So it wasn't until now it's been 8 or 9 years that my parents. After my grandfather passed away, purchased a piece. That farm's almost 1,000 acres. Hunts like 400. You know, we've done a lot of work on it over the years. Now we're getting to like maybe it hunts like 400 or 500. But a lot of projects still to come on that big landscape level stuff as I'm gaining confidence and the ability to, you know, manage some of these projects. And they take a budget too, for sure. It takes a lot of time and money. So we have that farm. That's my home farm. Jeremy and I, 3 years ago now, we're coming into our 4th season here. We were seeking out, you know, something in the Midwest to buy. You know, we'd hunted Kansas in leases and permissions and stuff a few times, and we were looking for a place that we could really like establish ourselves. So we bought a 150-acre farm in Illinois. Like I said. 3 years ago, and it was exactly that. I've killed 4 bucks in 3 years on it.
Yeah.
And Jeremy's only killed 1, but just dude, it's I killed 2 last year, you know, which kind of like spread the gap on it. It's just a matter of time being there and like. I can't explain it, to be honest, like, you know, why I was in the stand in those moments or he was. That's just kind of the way the cards fell. But we had the opportunity last year to buy an additional 80 acres. That's maybe a quarter mile from that farm. So he and I own 2 farms out there that total about, 230 acres or whatever. And then Jeremy does most of his hunting between Kentucky, I would say, is like, I don't know what drew him to Kentucky originally, but he has, a few hundred acres down there.
Yeah.
That's a place that, even though he lives here in Pennsylvania, that's like their home away from home kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And he's got a 200-ish acre farm in southern Ohio as well that I think actually he's going to be selling within next year probably.
He thinks he's going to sell that. Has he
he just doesn't
get
get down there as much. Dude, we're just at different places in life. He's got 2 kids, that are like 11 and 13 now. And I think he's feeling like between business and places to hunt and all that, he's spread pretty thin. Yeah. And I think he's feeling like he wants to reel it back in, maybe invest some of those into a place here in Pennsylvania that his boys can run and be on and stuff. And
I can relate to that because I have 4. And, we started buying farms in New York, and I've had other opportunities in other places, and I'm just kind of like, hey, I got to pick because I don't live there. I got to pick one spot, and they're all going to be right there. Or like, I just can't. I can't be doing it. It's too much. Like I've had.
Or if you get one, you got to give something else up. So
yeah, I mean, it gets to be a lot. And then the other thing is, equipment. It's like, okay, well, I have my tractors here, and I have another farm 8 hours away, and it's like, how am I gonna get? It becomes just when you have all these moving parts,
dude. Kids seems to be like, just as an observer, that seems to be the thing that really, like, you have to be smart.
Yeah.
I super blessed, and I have the luxury of like and I have a great wife. We just celebrated 10 years.
Oh,
right?
congrats.
So I have some responsibilities, but
yeah.
we don't have kids. And that for me, I mean, dude, I have a lot of freedom, and we work for ourselves, right? So we're self-employed, and we do real estate, and my wife and I own an ice cream shop that's seasonal, and she runs that full time. So we shut that down mid-October. And so, come late October, November, it's like, I'm going. And thank God, because I would still do that even if I was fully employed, and I would probably just like lose jobs, and it would be it would be bad. So
I think
out
there's
of
a reason you're
responsibility to my
self-employed.
wife, we had to find a way to be self-sufficient and provide for ourselves, and so we're very blessed.
What made you guys decide on Illinois?
Over the counter, closer than Kansas, $2.
Okay, those are three strong factors.
Yeah, gun season's a week later than Missouri would be another candidate.
Yeah,
but yeah, we fell in Illinois.
Gotcha. Did you look at Kansas at all? Because you can get a landowner tag in Kansas, right?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I have since I've looked in Kansas. It's far.
Yeah, it's real far.
Kansas is really far. And I just don't think that 80 acres does it for you. I just think that those bucks move.
Yeah.
They cover a lot more ground out there. The ground is more vast.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it's not that I wouldn't in the future. I just think, in terms of like bang for your buck and ability to get there.
Yeah.
And whether we did this at the time intentionally, or I'm realizing it now that we've built a place in Illinois, there is like, dude, knowing people locally that can help you with the farm and connections and, like you said, equipment and stuff.
It's critical.
You have to have
100%.
it. So the only way I would ever buy, and that's why I said to you before the podcast, I would consider a place in Iowa, because I know people locally that could plug us into the social pipeline, as they say.
That is so important. I've realized it's everything. Like if you want to get anything done and have you have to have that.
And I'll tell you what too, I have gained a lot of confidence just because I've had a really good experience with Jeremy. I've just got more acquainted with the land buying process. I am not nearly as afraid to buy properties with people as I would have been 3 years ago. If it can be set up correctly and you can establish some level of, trust and respect and protect yourself with how it's going to go on the back. I mean, just go into business with good people is what it comes down to. Dude, you can double, triple your money in terms of like what you can, what kind of ground you can pick up if you go in with people. So I think that's a huge
Do you mind sharing how you guys structured that, or how you did that?
Yeah. I don't even know if it's the right way or the best way, but basically.
I ask because I'm about to do one. Like we close in a month with another that's the first one I've bought with anybody besides my wife and I. And I'm curious as to how you guys did it, because,
Yeah, so like Jeremy and I both have created an LLC that is essentially a holdings company that you purchase the properties with, and we created an operating agreement essentially tied to the property, and so the deed essentially would show that Jeremy's LLC owns 50% of the property and my LLC owns 50% of the property. And then the operating agreement states that, when one party wants to sell or this, that, or the other, how that procedure would go.
Okay. You guys have that buyout clause in there and all figured out already?
I think so. Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. I was a little lax with it with Jeremy just because we're intertwined with so many businesses, but it is something that I think is important.
Yeah, no, I'm curious. Are you guys gonna think you continue to build and look in that area out there? Is that kind of the plan, or?
Honestly, I think Jeremy's gonna probably want out in the next couple of years because of what I was saying about wanting to come back to Pennsylvania. So probably within the next year or two, either I'll buy Jeremy out of that farm.
Yeah.
I may bring in a partner. My dad is a strong candidate
Yeah.
for that, just because I'm looking to build
Yeah.
opportunities with my dad and my uncle too as a part of that. Or we'll sell it together,
Yep.
and somebody will get an awesome farm, and he'll take his proceeds and roll it into Pennsylvania, and I'll take it and continue to build in the Midwest, because that's where big deer are.
Are you gonna move to the Midwest at some point? Don't think so, huh?
Not probably ever full time.
Okay.
Yeah, just my wife's. First of all, our business is here.
Yep.
You know, the ice cream shop ties us here. Our real estate business is in the Pittsburgh suburb
Yeah.
area.
That can move though.
Yeah, in theory, you know, my wife has a lot of family here.
Okay, yeah.
And that's important to us. We both are really involved with our nieces and nephews. You know, I've
Yep.
got like 8 or 10 of them, and so for now, no. You know, I think we're here, and frankly, I enjoy the adventure aspect of it. Like, I have no desire to live in remote Iowa. You know?
Okay, yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's fun to go there, and every time I go, it's even if I go out to like spray food plots, it's like it's an adventure, because
Yep.
it's 9 hours out there. I'm going to Monday. I'm driving out to Illinois to do a bunch of chores and stuff like that. And every time I go, it's like you get the rush, you get the excitement, because it's far away, and it's like you never get to go there. The pressure stays off the property. There's all kind of advantages and stuff like that. So no, I don't see myself moving out there. However, I would love to, like Jeremy, have something close to home. It doesn't have to be like I'm killing booners every year.
Yeah.
But I need something to, like, I live on an acre and a half right here. Like, we don't own land right here. I would like to have 10 or more, 20 or more, you know what I mean? Some kind of situation where I can at least go out in the evenings and like work on a food plot out back. I can at least have like a 3 or 4 year old buck out there that's like, even if I don't ever kill him, it's just, you know, I can do deer stuff at home and get my fix. You know?
That's a thing I miss, because I guess 2-3, it's been 3 years now. 3 years ago moved. We had some acreage here in New Hampshire that I managed for, I guess it was probably close to 10 years, and built a couple pieces up and ended up selling it all when we moved. We lived in a pretty remote rural area, and with all the kids and the wife, it was just tough for her, you know, to deal with that as, you know, as I'm gone and just be so far from town. So we moved closer to town, sold all that acreage, and then that's what I started rolling into some of the New York farms. But I do miss, like, if I have an hour running out back and whatever, doing some TSI or like just mowing a clover, whatever. Like, I don't have that anymore, and I get the itch. Like, I get the itch.
I don't get to do it. And it's hard for, I think, for some people to understand that live in a really rural setting that I envy, right? It's like, wow, I just after work, you know, you talk to guys that live in those Midwestern states, they're just like, a farm that's 2 hours away is like, oh, they're considering selling it because it's too far. And I'm like, that's my closest farm is 2 hours away. Like,
Right.
So it's a very different lifestyle.
Yeah.
Like, dude, when I'm at home, like, we're working, and we're, you know, it's not like we just work 24/7, but like we work a lot. Like, we own multiple businesses, and we're constantly on and doing that and stuff, and we're plugged in. But it gives me the luxury of like, dude, I'm like constantly fantasizing about the next trip. Right. And so, and because we work for ourselves and our schedules are flexible and stuff, it's like on a Monday through Thursday, I've gotten all my work done. I'm going to go to Illinois, and and I'm just going to be there for 4 days. And so throughout the course of the season between Ohio and Illinois, the off season, I should say, literally from the months of March to August, I would call the off season, I will be at one of those two farms, like no less than 3 to 4 full weeks, probably.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, dude, 12-hour days on the tractor adds up. You know what I mean? I'm planting 10, 15, 20 acres at each one of those farms of just projects. You know what I mean? Like, next week in Illinois, in a matter of 3-4 days, my list is purchase and pull in multiple redneck blinds. Take the chainsaw, trim out multiple new, access locations, plant multiple, bring the drill in on the tractor, plant multiple screens, spray every food plot in preparation to go back in August to plant that. Manage any clover plots that we've got. Deploy 10, 15 new Tacticams. Trim multiple stands. Check on the house that we have there and the kid that I've got living in it. And so there's and it's awesome. I love it. That's my favorite stuff to do. All I do is between work is like, and so it's just a very different thing. It's not like, oh, I live in Iowa and on our property back here, it's not that at all.
No.
It's I sit at home and for 90% of the time I'm scheming and coordinating from
I'm
a
laughing
distance.
because this is this is my reality as well. So
I know more people in our area in Illinois probably than the people that live there. Just because I need help. And I'm calling and I want build relationships. I know all the neighbors. And we're looking to grow, and that's how you do it.
Do you make lists of like?
Oh, dude,
You have to.
You got. I have them on my iPhone.
Say there's no way you can keep track of all that.
They go on my phone and they migrate to my.
They get written out.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Here's the to-dones.
That's awesome. I need to formalize mine a little better. Yours is way better than mine. Oh my god.
Okay, there's 3 businesses here. This is HUNTR Podcast. This is Countryside Real Estate Group. This is Pages, the ice cream shop. Miscellaneous personal stuff here.
There you go. Isn't it funny? So I don't know if you have the same experience, but I make these lists. It's like, all right, I'm going to be out here for 4 days at the farms, and I got to do these 10 things. And I'm like 2 days in, and I've done 2 of them. Just because stuff, it's like equipment issues, and it's like. Oh.
Nope. Mine's usually like, been here half the time, and I'm done with my list.
Really? I need to.
I get stuff done, dude.
I need help. I need your help then. I am like, I have all these lists, and don't get me wrong, like we do pretty well, but I just feel like nothing. I always think I can do more than I can, if that makes sense. And I mean, I hustle. I'm talking like 6 a.m. to dark every day, and like we don't stop, but it's just stuff just seems to take time.
Here's my diagnosis on that. The problem is, and it's not a problem. It's awesome, but it's just what it is you have kids, so. You have a responsibility to your kids, and so a lot of your time and effort goes into that. For me, and just across the board, this can apply to anybody even that has kids. I think this is just a good baseline that's been good for me. It's like when something pops into your head, maybe this is not like an organizational person would not tell you to do this, but like I do it right away. If it's not something that needs done, I don't procrastinate. I do it right now. Because I know that if I wait until it needs to be done, then something else is also going to need to be done, and then I'm going to be late at it.
Yep.
So I work really hard to get things done, way ahead maybe of even when they need to be, and I'm never late on deadlines, and I always get stuff done when it needs to be done.
I'm talking more though when you have the time on the farm, when you go out there. You know what I mean? When you're there on the.
I've done the prep, dude. For example, yesterday, or I was like, I need to get a redneck blind down on that bottom there. I was like, I have 6 sitting at the farm in Ohio. I got to go there tomorrow and pick it up, and the chainsaw and some other stuff. It would be easier so I don't have to haul it. I'm going to get one. So I called today, just immediately. I'm just calling out there. I found a dealer. There he is. Yeah, I have the thing you need. Cool. $3,000 cash. Cool. Good. Hey, I'm going to have to borrow a trailer out there. He's like, oh, I got one. Yeah. Great. I'll see you Monday.
Oh yeah.
And I'll make 10 of those calls before the trip, so that when I go on the trip, everything falls into place.
Yeah. No, I know. I think you're better at that.
I called the ag place and ordered the chemical ahead of time. I called the guy that I'm borrowing the drill from ahead of time. I called the neighbor and say, hey, I'm going to be. I call the guy that's living in the house and say, hey, here's the situation. And I coordinate everything ahead of time so that when I show up, it's just like it just happens.
I'll tell you a little story of what I'm talking about. This is last week. So
that's the list.
I planted. It all came together. So, but it was a little bit harder and longer than I thought it was going to take. I planted.
That's what she said.
She didn't say that. I planted 35 acres of grain last week out there, and I had like this hope. I'm like, all right, we got to do this, this, and this. Part of the acreage I planted was had been fallow for like 3 years. So it had a bunch of thatch and stuff growing off. So I had spray killed it like 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, I'm going to burn that stuff off. So tillage is a lot easier. I don't have to deal with all that crap. And I'm like, all right. So I hired.
Tillage.
What's that? disking.
You're turning it.
Yeah, yeah. It was chisel plowed in the fall and then left, so everything's rigid.
New York?
What's that?
New York?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I had everything planned out. I was like, I really don't want to deal with fertilizer carts and like spreading. It was like 18,000 pounds of fertilizer on all, and I'm like, I'm gonna hire that out. Months ago, I work with an agronomist. I get the whole thing. We have rates and a mix and all the stuff. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, when can you come? I'm like, well, I don't know, but I'm like, it probably doesn't make sense to spread the fertilizer and then burn the stuff off. That probably should happen after the fact. I don't know. I think you may lose some to the heat. I don't know. I'm like, yeah, it probably doesn't make sense. So anyway, like, I'm gonna have schedule them to be there the second day. The first day I'm gonna burn. I waited for a day where the conditions were good. Burn it off. I'm like, all right, they'll be here tomorrow. Then when that's done, tillage will start, and we'll just start rolling into, all through planning. And so we actually picked up a piece of equipment, a forestry mulcher, that next day, and I'm like waiting for the fertilizer to come. And they actually had called me on Saturday and asked if they could spread, and the ground was still a little wet and it was getting hot, so I wanted to give it a couple more days and I wanted to burn. I'm like, hey, can we stick with Monday? Yeah, no problem. Be there Monday. Great. So Monday comes and goes. It's like 3:00, and I call, hey, what's going on? Are you late? Oh, we had a breakdown. Okay, well, what's the story? We're not sure yet, but we should know in the morning, and we should be there. I'm like, okay, that's not that big a deal. It's, whatever. So I call them at 7:00 the next morning. Hey, you coming? Oh, you're not going to like this. What's up? Yeah, we can't get there for 2 weeks. And I was like, what? What are you talking about? Oh. They're like, well, we had another big farmer to come spread for and up in that area, and there's miscommunication. They don't need it, so we can't get up there. I was like, okay. I was like, well, I got to go and pick up a cart then, which is a pain in the ass, but whatever. Mm-hmm. So I rolled down there. I'm like, hey, this is the rate and the mix, and this is what I need. Can I get a cart? And the girl at the counter is looking at me with this weird look, and I'm like, what's up? She's like, we don't have carts. I'm like, what do you mean? We don't have them anymore. I was like, you had them last year. And she's like, no, we don't have them. So no carts. So then I spent a day trying to find somebody with a cart. Eric Hansen and Ethan came through, and they finally, after like 24 hours, got a cart. So I pick it up, and I do it all. Anyway, but it was like 2 days that I couldn't. I was trying to, you know what I mean? It's like just stuff like that, I think, where when you're relying on other people. And that's why I've tried to do as much of it myself, but you just can't do it all. You have to rely on other people.
Relying on other people is tough.
You know what I mean?
I have that with with our drill. I rent a grain drill from our like a no-till. It's a Great Plains from the county, and that sucks dealing with them because it's like, and you have to just honestly tell them that you need it a month ahead of when you need it, because like that's when you're going to finally get it. And fortunately, especially with beans, I mean, there's some flexibility and stuff there. Yeah. I can't plant corn because I won't get it in time. So yeah, you got to just pony up and, get one or, get access to one or handle it yourself. We spread all of our own fertilizer. I rent a cart from the place there. Yeah. I can count on that to be done on time. Stuff does break down, and I'm not saying like things don't happen, because they definitely do. But, the longer you do it and the less you have to rely on other people.
I think that's...
However, I will say, like, in Illinois especially, it's been really nice to be able to rely on... we've got a kid named Drake that lives in our house now, and he's like a friend of a friend. And there's stuff that I can't justify a trip to Illinois to spray 2 clover plots. Like, it's ridiculous. So it's really nice to be able to rely on him to do stuff like that. And I know that, I mean, it's like if you want stuff done right, you got to do it yourself. But like, he's got to learn, and I can handle that, right? It doesn't have to be perfect. So, but it's been really nice to have his help with stuff, and I've been really impressed with how he's, what he's done for us so far. So,
remember like 2 weeks ago before you were going to that trip, and I was like, "Oh, you're gonna be out there like a week?" You're like, "No, like three or 4 days." You're like, if I'm there a week, something's gone really wrong.
I was there a week. I was there a week, and stuff did. Yeah. Well, and I do the same thing. So I actually ended up buying a couple of years ago a 4-row planter. For I don't want to wait on other people to plant, but we were planting so many acres this year. I actually did rent the county Great Plains drill for the bean ground so we could run 2 tractors and get it done quicker. And we got that thing. That thing was also a day late, day and a half late. And when we finally got it hooked up, it was like dumping seed every time you lifted the drill up. And I don't know what was going on, but when it was in the ground, it just, the feed was not, something was going on with the feed. It like was getting caught up in the tubes and like just bound up, and like it would like trickle out, not at the appropriate rate. And then when you lift the thing up, all the seed would down. It was like, so we didn't even use it. We just like, all right, forget, we don't have time for this. So I just ended up planting even the bean ground with my planter, which is fine, but I just was so yeah, it's just like, if you don't have your own stuff and you can't control it and you're trying to make a million things happen, it just gets tough.
One thing that's definitely make things go smoother over the years is like you acquire the right equipment.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, dude, there's nothing like the right tool for the job. It's like 100%. you need a good multi-row disc for putting in fire breaks. You need a forestry mulcher for, putting it, clearing those fence lines and stuff. You need a drill for drilling switchgrass and screens and grains, and your whole process, really evolves around those cornerstone pieces of equipment. And you need a freaking tractor. Like,
oh yeah.
And the next piece that I don't have that you'd love to have would be a skid steer, for water holes and for your forestry mulcher. It's like, yeah, I mean that, but
the two that you just said is the next one I'm trying to make happen is a drill. And then after that, a skid steer. Those are the next 2 for me that I think if I had those 2 with what I got now, because I've been, putting together a pretty good list of stuff that's reliable and works and fits the bill, and those are the 2 things I feel like would really. But they aren't cheap. This stuff is not cheap.
Well, dude, we lucked out in Illinois when we bought the farm from the gentleman that lived there. He'd lived there since the 40s.
Jeez.
Yeah, he was raised there, and he was 80. He's 89 when we bought it, and the only reason he sold it to us was we gave him multiple years, 2 years technically in the contract that he could continue to live there. He thought for sure he'd be dead, but within that time frame. Oh yeah.
Did he verbalize that?
Oh yeah. He's like, I won't be here the next time you see me. And we're like, so it was cool. But over that time we built kind of a relationship with him, and it was fun because he'd hunted and trapped that farm his whole life and stuff. And so he was excited for us, and we were, obviously super kind to him as much as we could be. And, he did not die. He's still alive to my knowledge. Eventually bought a farm, bought another house with the money that, that we paid him for the farm. And, but because of that, he lived there for 2 years, a little over 2 years and stuff. And he had a brand new Kubota tractor back there. I don't know exactly the specs on it or whatever, but plenty big enough for a brush hog and a drill. And it was kind of an unspoken, like, hey, everything in the barn's we want.
So you got that tractor?
Yeah. So we got a tractor with a bucket on it, pallet forks, brush hog, post hole digger. And dude, there's things on his own farm. Like if you get a little bit of know-how, like, dude, there was these old grain wagons stacked in the thing there that I thought for sure. I was like, there's no way those things are even semi. Sure enough, hooked that thing up to a drop pin and pulled all 3 of them out in a chain. It's like good as new. And now we've got 3 bases for blinds and stuff. There was an old disc. Dude, those discs never go bad. You put some grease in there. He had new tires laying around the barn there. I swapped them out, put new hydraulic hoses on them and stuff, and we got a disc now.
Shit. That's
so it takes a few years, and you piece stuff together, you fix stuff up or whatever. And but yeah, we got a tractor, and I got a kid there that can mow all our trails, and it's like we got kind of a turnkey operation there now.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Have you guys considered a drill?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, we were looking at partnering with Genesis this year. We were supposed to get a couple drills and stuff, and for sure they went out of business. They closed down that division.
Oh really?
Before it could happen. Yep.
Is that PH or is that a different division?
No, PH is Paul Hollis. He used to be at Genesis Drills, to my knowledge. I don't know it super intimately, but I think he left, started PH Drills. They're still doing their thing.
Okay, that's
so really
I'm
the drills
to
speak of would be like PH Drills, Great Plains, Land Pride has one, which is Kubota.
Yep. Yeah, I'm looking at that G8. That's the one I was looking at, but
Who makes that?
What's that?
Is that the PH drill?
Yeah, the PH. It's it's their 8-footer. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They're not cheap. I'm just trying to figure out how I can figure that out, because I feel like that's the next one.
Yeah.
It just saves you so much time. And
Dude, it's crazy. I told Jeremy today, literally on a podcast, I was like, dude, I don't know if everybody you see with one is just like, it's all marketing stuff. They're all given drills. Because like,
that's what I feel
you,
like.
you think of all people, Jeremy and I would own a drill, and I'm like, dude, I can't, like $35,000 drill for something. Like, I'll just keep renting the county drill in the meantime. Like, I'll deal with it going in 2 weeks later than I wanted it to. Like,
I've rented a G5, an older model, so the 5-footer, and I just can't. The 5-footer, I just can't do the 5-footer. It's so it just takes so long, like to do. And if you're doing like an acre or something like that, it's fine. But I think
our
drilled
county's
like
got the Great Plains 706 MT 7-footer.
Yep. Yeah, that's the one I rent too. Yeah.
That's nice.
Really
nice.
Yeah. When it works, when I've rented in the past,
$35,000 drill.
I know. Jeez. But that 5-footer, I drilled like 4 acres of alfalfa with it, and I'm like, this is too slow. Like, it's just these little passes, and it's like, oh my god. So what do you got coming up this year? What's on the agenda for farms and hunting seasons and all that stuff?
Yeah, well, I will say Kansas and Iowa are both off the table this year. Because we did Iowa 2 years ago, and so we're stacking points again, and we did Kansas last year, and we just bought a point this year. We were super fortunate, and finally, after 3 years, drew our North Dakota mule deer tags again.
Oh, cool.
So unfortunately, they kind of like ripped the the rug out from under us, and they're not allowing non-residents now to hunt North Dakota on private land for the first 9.5 days of the season. Which, if you hunt out there, you should know.
What did what do you know when that, like, was that just out of nowhere, or was that coming? Oh, really?
Nobody that I know saw it coming. Residents or non-residents.
Who does that? So it's a South Dakota does that on.
I think Montana does too.
Yeah.
Or South Dakota for sure does.
South Dakota does it. I think you can't hunt until like mid or late September. So it opens September 1st, but then I don't think non-residents are going to public.
It's such a dumb rule. I would way rather just have a lower lottery odds and be able to hunt the whole season.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Especially in our case here, dude. I've been donating to the plots program for 3 years in North Dakota.
It's crazy.
With the intention to hunt it early season when we did eventually draw. And then now all of a sudden they say, well, you can't hunt public land. And dude, there's 249 mule deer tags that they gave out. Like none.
Yeah.
Essentially very few. I think it probably came from pressure. Like I think residents were feeling the pressure from non-residents in the eastern half of the states on whitetails because it's over the counter.
Yeah.
It's a bait state. It's super accessible. And I think the mule deer non-resident tax just kind of got thrown out with the bathwater kind of a thing. But then they may even correct that in the future. But
are you guys trying to find some private, or do you have some already, or
trying to find some private? We have some leads.
Yeah. What's your expectation for that hunt? Because you killed. Did you kill? Yeah. You killed one before, didn't you?
Yeah. We've been twice. We drew in 2020 with no points and 2021 with no points, and then didn't draw 22, 3, or 4, or 5. Maybe I'm off by a year, but we had 3 points drawn in fourth. We killed the second and third days on the first one, and we didn't kill any on the second trip. So I've killed one muley. It was in hindsight, like I said, just understanding what you got and trying to like set goals for yourself. I killed a 3-year-old 140 inch muley, and which was awesome for my first trip. I was like, dude, I was stoked with that. And again, this was 5-6 years ago. Jeremy killed, I'm gonna say, a 2-year-old full velvet, had like drop tines, and Jeremy, he's excitable, and we both shot those things at like 5 yards. You know what I mean?
That's cool.
It was like over the ledge kind of thing.
Yeah.
So it was super cool. It was like one of the most fun hunts we've ever done. My goal, I think, would be I'd like to shoot 100 at least 150. I mean, I'd really like to shoot like a mainframe 4x4 160 or better.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just now that I have some perspective on what mule deer are and what they can do, it's like you can expect them to score 20 inches bigger than a whitetail, essentially 15, 20 inches bigger. And So yeah, I'd like to shoot a 160-inch mule deer.
Is are you looking at the same like region? You
Yeah,
okay?
there's only
Okay.
it's not small, but like only certain parts of the state have mule deer.
So even if you got on some private, it'd probably be similar type terrain and country that you hunted last time, or
Yeah, a lot of the public land is badlands, like
yep,
super rugged stuff there. So, and a lot of the private, I think, is more farm country with
like
it
river
has some
bottom.
badland. Yeah, like the ones we've come across, they're like 50-50 whitetails and muleys. The muleys will live in the
Yep.
hilly, canyony, and then the whitetails live in the timber bottoms.
Yep. Yeah, that should be pretty cool. And is that open? When does that open?
September 4th this year, I'm
The
pretty sure.
4th. Okay, so you'll be out there. You guys go out there like beforehand and try to glass, or first day
Run
you're
one
just
down.
going in, you're raw dogging it?
Yeah, just take a knife, and I might not even take my bow. Yeah, we'll probably go out the day before.
Yeah.
And try to get an evening of glass, just get our bearings there a little bit. But no, the mule deer is just kind of like find one, chase after
Oh
it.
yeah,
Like
no. I love going out early for that. I mean, I've only really done whitetails. I am going to hunt mule deer in September this year though, but I've only really done whitetails. But I do like going. I think it's fun just to scout for 2-3 days beforehand, and I don't know. I enjoy that glassing and trying to find one.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
And if it were just me, again, I don't have kids. Maybe I
Yeah.
would do that, but like I'm bound a little bit by Jeremy's schedule too, so I'm just trying to be effective with our time.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
But,
Actually, I know you guys were talking about it, but I think we talked about it maybe when I was on before, but I'm hunting mule deer in Alberta this year, and my buddy's going to hunt whitetails, so we're going to be in camp
I'm
together.
waiting for the invite, dude. I'm
No,
waiting.
well, I'm working on it.
You're my in to Alberta.
So the whitetail thing, I can help you out for sure if you want to
Okay.
do that. The mule deer thing, the tags are a little bit tricky, so there's some.
Are you going for whitetails this year?
I'm going for mule deer, and my buddy is going to be there
Muleys.
for whitetails, so we're going to hunt.
When are you going?
First week in September.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm excited about that. That'll be my first time with a mule deer tag, I believe. So yeah, that should be pretty interesting.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I do want to do Canada at some point, but to finish answering your question, North Dakota is first on the docket here. And then I think we're just between the home states this year. I get 2 tags in Illinois, and dude, those farms are just like, I'm dialing them in. Like there's a couple spots where it's like, it will happen,
It feels good
And,
when you figure those spots out and you put all the pieces together and make little tweaks, and you're like, oh, this is it's ready. You just need to roll in there on the right conditions, and it's on.
That's what I love about the Midwest is just like, and that honestly, again, I know Ohio is the Midwest to you, but like even in Ohio, but Pennsylvania, a lot of these places where there's higher pressure, higher just hunter density, it's like you can do all the right things and like it just may still not happen.
Yeah, no, right.
And that can happen in the Midwest, but like odds are, like just the way that the ground lays and like there's an age class there. It's like, did you do the right stuff? You have a little bit of experience intel and stuff. Like you can freaking get it. You can get it done. So there are some spots, especially on that new 80 that we picked up, that I'm just like, I just feel like they're automatic.
Yeah, a lot more predictable.
What do you guys have for? So I remember you talking a little bit about the food situation and how did the deer not hit your food or something, or what was this? What's the situation there? Because it seemed like you said you maybe weren't drawing the deer that you thought you'd be with the food you had, or something like that. Is that accurate? Or
Yeah, it's just there's just not a ton of deer there.
Okay.
There's more than Kansas, but less than Ohio, at least in the areas that we are.
Okay.
I think it's growing. I do think that we're having an impact on just because we have year-round food sources and we've done some habitat management and stuff on our CRP. We're getting a more consistent, resident deer type activity.
so maybe it wasn't that they weren't relating to your food; it's just there wasn't that many deer in general. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's been cool to see that develop like over 3 years. It's like seems like there's more deer, there's, better deer, and we're, having more success hunting them.
What do you guys have? What do you have you have tillable, right?
Mm-hmm.
What do you have worked out with the farmer there for that?
This year, she's going to leave us 2 acres of beans on each farm.
Okay. So everything's going to be in beans then?
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys see more deer over the summer on a bean year or early, or do you see much difference, I guess, between the two?
Well, Illinois is not a mineral state,
Yep.
so inventory is challenging during the summer.
Yeah.
We haven't had the 80 for a summer yet,
Right.
and it will be
Yep.
beans this year. And there's a spot that I'm pretty confident, like we'll get some slammers.
Yeah.
It's just one of those backfield spots that's like, and we can access it through. It's one of those trails that I'm going to clear down in there. I'm going to pull a redneck blind down in there. I had her leave us a half an acre where I'm going to plant a brassica field in front of the 2 acres of beans that will be left down there.
Yep. Sounds like a good
Little
setup.
mock
I like
scrape action. Yeah. Maybe
like
a water hole in the future.
Yep.
Dude, it's just, not every farm has them either. It's like we bought the farm because of some of those spots that exist there. It's just like, dude, we can just cut them off right there and we can access it. That's the most important thing. And, that redneck blind to be able to seal it in there. I mean, and at a certain point, it's like, I don't want to do that for 20 years in a row or whatever it is. But right now the spot is not developed. It's been ag in the past and there's like a scrape that a guy ran a camera on kind of a thing. So we're going to develop it and we're going to, hopefully have some great experiences out of it. And then, some year down the road, we'll sell those farms and roll it into a different one and, create new scenarios and stuff. And I mean, at this point, that's what I'm really enjoying is creating the opportunities and just maximizing those properties. And it's a lot of fun.
Was that farm off market deal or is it? It wasn't. Yeah.
It was off market. Whitetail Properties guy owned it.
Oh.
Mentioned to Brackett that he was considering selling it. And then Brackett knew that our farm was like right there, so told us, and then we got a deal done off market.
Good. Yeah, off market stuff's good.
That's the only stuff I'll buy.
That's coming from an agent, right?
Well, yes, but you know what? We don't sell very much recreational property around here. No. We deal mainly with like high-end custom homes and frankly residential development.
Okay. Gotcha. Is there just not a lot of that in that area? No.
Yeah, nobody buys properties around here to deer hunt.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah, it's like if they can deer hunt it, great. It's like cool, that might be fun. But
I gotcha. Mm-hmm. So you got anything? Oh, you got Ohio. So it's Ohio and Illinois then after that for you. Oh, we got some antlers.
Here's one. Okay, well here, first of all, just because it's on top here, this is the first buck that I killed last November.
Okay, yeah.
Off the 80 in Illinois. This was his shed as a 4-year-old from the year before, and I passed him at like 15 yards during gun season with a bow on the main farm, which is super cool. I passed him on the main farm the year before, and then I ended up killing him on the 80 like 2 days after we got it under contract.
That's interesting. So some of the same deer then for sure.
Definitely. Yep.
How much were you stressing until the end of the season after you passed them?
What's that?
So how much were you stressing until the end of the season after you passed that deer?
I mean,
it's what it is,
man. It's just a reality that you got to live with.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, we had a really nice 4-year-old, better than that one killed last year, and it happens, But here's Ohio.
Oh yeah, it's a good deer.
Yep, 4-year-old.
How long is that freaking
that thing's
beam?
wild.
That's
12 inches.
Yeah, that's a good
deer.
deer.
He's 150 plus 12. He's 162 and a half.
Yeah.
Yep. So found both those sheds. Probably
how old is he?
Half mile away. 4.
Oh shit.
But a heavy 4, big body deer.
4-year-old man.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Look at all those trash and stuff. So awesome genetic deer. He's probably number 1 for me, going into this season. I'm excited about him.
Did he have that beam the year before?
Yeah.
Oh, so he
not as long, but
So that deer could be real good this year.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. If he has something similar to that, I think he'll be in the 70s.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I would say. He could be bigger.
That was the one I really wanted to show you. But then this guy here, not a super high scoring deer, but this is a 6-year-old deer. And so the morning that we shot that 196-inch 4-year-old,
Yep.
in the afternoon, I filmed my uncle hit this thing super low, like super
Yeah,
low,
I
hard
think I
hit.
saw that. Yep.
Got the drone, found him alive. You know, he
What do
lived
you
all
call that
season,
deer?
kind of a thing. GR8.
Yeah, that's right.
And then I actually missed him in January, like super late season. And I don't know what it was. It was kind of a weird thing where I was like, I felt like I had kind of shot enough deer. I was in there hunting does, but I thought, well, I might see him, kind of a thing. And I did hit a limb for sure. I don't know if that's 100% why I missed him. It was an awkward shot. It was like I had to crouch down. It was super cold. I was freezing. I don't know. Just wasn't meant to be. I missed him by a
Yeah.
mile, kind of a thing. But there he is. So we just found the shed like 2-3 weeks ago when we burned off a little field that I was planting switchgrass into, and so I'm excited about him. And actually, he's had a pretty pathetic, you know, what I mean, kind of. Here he is as a 4-year-old, if you believe it. I mean, he might
Yeah.
have scored 125 inches here. You know, so this is one of those cases where not a high scoring deer,
Yeah.
but I don't know, man. If that deer on the ground that I just showed you is on the farm and this deer walks past me this year at 7 years old, I'm probably not going to pass him.
Yeah.
Just
I wouldn't.
because my dad hunts it, my uncle hunts it. I've got other guys that I'd be just as happy if they killed that. But, you know, so here he's a 4, here's a 5, almost no growth and pretty pathetic for a 5-year-old, if I'm being honest. And then here he is at 6. He looks a little darker because he's burned, but
Yeah.
he finally did put on some mass, you know, and a few more inches. So, and I've got him on camera already at 7. So I'm excited to see. It's just awesome to have deer
Yeah.
of that age
Oh, yeah.
class that are out there. So
Are either of those deer ones you think you got them figure, like you think you'll kill them, like you know where they're at and you think you got a good shot, or are they? Yeah, both of them.
all of them, yeah,
Really?
all of them,
Oh yeah.
yeah, oh yeah.
Good deal. Well, sometimes you have them. It's like, I got him, but he's here and there, and you can't pin him down. And it's just
Here's the
random
thing about managing properties is like they're going to come through the trap at some point.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of waiting for the right. Like if you set a property up well enough, and I don't know if this is the right way to describe it or not. It's like it's not like I have to go and invade his bedding area or do these different things. I've developed the property to a point now where there's ambush points that work. They're bulletproof, and I can access them and hunt them safely. And if I do that according to the right weather patterns and stuff, and at the right time, and when the cameras tell us that it's time to do it, then we'll catch up with them all of them.
So they live on you at least a fair amount of time, you think? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's a very real possibility that the neighbors will kill them too, because we live in a bait state and we're surrounded by guys that hunt, and so they very well might get shot by neighbors too.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying I'm not guaranteeing that we'll kill them, but
yeah, if they don't get killed by the neighbors, you'll probably get a crack at them. Makes sense.
Since I'm back here. Yeah, here's that mule deer.
Did the one you killed? Oh, did you cut the antlers off?
Yeah,
What did you fly out there or something?
we flew out, but the reason that I did that, what happened? That's so many years ago. It was something like, for some reason we lost a freezer or something like that.
Okay.
And then the skull got real rotten or something like. I honestly can't remember off the top of my head why we ended up having to do that, but
That's him.
anyways, that was him. So yeah, I'm looking for step up from that.
The next size up.
Yep.
Same. Yep. Awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the season. That'll be that's exciting. It's cool that you have those deer to hunt in Ohio.
It's very cool.
It's cool.
Very cool.
Two deer
Yeah.
that are
And it's not just me, the thing with Ohio, and if we had a whole another couple hours for the podcast, I'd share with you that, and I have with you, Brett, I think that there's 6 guys that
Yeah.
hunt our farm, you know, and so we're always walking the line of like, I am putting the most work in, but you know, by far, Dad's right there behind me, you know, chipping away. I don't, I don't feel like that obligates me to shoot the biggest deer or have exclusive access. You know, it's my uncle and good friends of ours, and so to a level, depend on any given year, I'm like, you know, whoever is most deserving, I'm trying to get all of us on deer to the best that I
Yep.
can.
Yeah.
And so wherever the chips fall, you know, I try to keep everybody happy and on big deer and the property with a reasonable amount of pressure on it. And
It's a
it's not
balancing
perfect
act.
by any
Yeah.
means, but
It's a balancing act. Seems like you're doing a good job on it. I mean, if you got those deer to chase, I mean, I'm sure everybody's going to be excited that they're around, you know, and there's a possibility. So it just adds a little bit more to it, you know, that, hey.
it's funny to hear guys. In fact, you know, this deer here, everybody was talking about him. I would, you know, I'd stop to talk to neighbors and, you know, people that don't even hunt, they'd be like, "Oh, you got to see this buck that I've seen around lately. He's a freaking, you know, it's an
Really?
absolute giant." And they'd show me the picture. I'm like, "Oh yeah," you know, and I try to, you know, I'm not. It's not like I'm putting the deer down to anybody, but like, I would love for people to be on the same page if it was a
Yeah.
possibility. I'm like, "Oh yeah, nope, I know the deer kind of thing. Yeah, he's a 4-year-old. We'll probably give him another year if we can." And some people just won't even hear it. In fact, some of the properties that got sold, I went to the auctions, and on the table at the auction is a picture of this deer in my bean field, saying that, you know, and everybody's like, "Oh my gosh, he's an absolute giant," and he is. I mean, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
like anybody would be stoked to shoot a deer like that, but you know,
Jeez. I mean, he looks good from here. I hear you. But this year, man, he could be something crazy.
these are some of the best sheds I've ever found on our farm.
Yeah.
You know, in you know, 8 or 9 years that we've had it. I think the only set that is closer. I guess he didn't technically score as much, but this was one of the first year that we owned the farm, and they're rattling horns now. And that's a 4-year-old also.
That's a good one, too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Lived obviously and got killed. This deer, this one, we called him Goose, was like kind of what started the obsession for me. He was one of the first big deer that I had to chase. And there's just no reason that we shouldn't have killed this deer other than just didn't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
He lived in a little bowl where he was smelling us and stuff, and like, but he lived on it. He was daylighting every day, and I'm just like, just couldn't get him killed. I don't know. Ended up getting killed mile and a half away. Clean 170-inch 10-point as a 5-year-old.
Damn.
Just a hammer.
And that was the year after those sheds?
Yeah, year after these sheds.
Beauty.
But oh well.
The potential's there. Cool. Well, we'll let you get back to, I guess it's late, so I'm sure you got stuff to do in the morning, like all of us. But yeah, anything else you
want to? I'm
want
going to head to the farm in the morning or not.
Are you leaving? Are you going tomorrow?
It'd be Ohio.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How long is that trip for you? A couple hours?
Hour and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's busy time of year. You have anything else you want to touch upon, or?
No, this has been great. Yeah, you guys do a really nice job, and
Thanks.
it was fun just catching up with you. So
Absolutely. Well, we'll talk. Stay in touch. Let us know if you get a picture of that Ohio buck. Send it to me. I want to see that thing. I'm very curious to see what he looks like this summer, because he could be.
I'm sure we'll have
he
him
could be
pretty soon.
special.
Yeah, I've got you can giggle about this. We were talking about how many deer we had earlier and stuff. Last year was my first time putting out feeders, and I put out 3 2,000-pound feeders.
Yep.
And in the peak winter months, and mind you, we had a pretty tough winter last year. I had some of those feeders get eaten out in 2.5 weeks. 2,000 pounds.
That's a lot.
With alfalfa bales on the ground, too. So they were just piling in there. And so I'm swapping them out, selling them, and trading them out for 5,000-pound feeders.
You're gonna have to start growing your own feed, man. Do you have do you just buy it and get it filled up by a farmer, or what do you do?
I bought a grain wagon this past year.
Okay.
it's a 15,000 pound grain wagon, and it's split in the middle, so I could do half corn, half protein feed of some sort.
Are you
And
are
then
you?
it augers it up into the feeder.
That's big time, man.
We're farming, buddy.
That's a lot of
Hey,
feed.
I'm not a fan of baiting, but if it's legal, I'm going to be
Oh,
the best one at
I
it,
don't blame you
so.
at all. I totally get it. You better do it better than the next guy, huh? If you're gonna do it.
I hate it because it is expensive. I mean, just to be honest with you, real number, dude, those feeders are 10,000 bucks for the
Are they
feeders.
really? And
Probably
how much to fill them?
Probably 4,000 bucks to get them shipped up here from Texas.
Jeez.
These ones are coming from Kansas, actually, just because gas prices.
Yeah.
It's 45,000 pounds of feed if I fill them 3 times, which is what I'm figuring. Depending on what I can work out with a feed company, I don't know. More than
Expensive.
my wife cares to hear in the next room, probably.
Oh my god! You can't grow. You can't keep enough.
Just start a hunting podcast and make it a write off. I mean, that's
Yeah.
great. So.
And you can't grow enough food on that farm to feed them through the winter. You don't think, or you just don't think it'd be the same?
I can grow enough feed to feed them. The problem is they want that reliability of the feeder there,
Yeah.
and so it really is to combat corn piles
Yep.
around the property.
That makes sense. Makes sense.
And last year we had just a really bad drought, and so I had 16 acres of standing beans that were gone in early December.
That's crazy.
So on a good year, like a good growing year, yeah, we should have plenty of food. But last year, no, we didn't.
Were they eating the alfalfa pretty good?
We don't have any alfalfa on our.
Well,
on our
no,
farm.
you were feeding it though. You said, right?
Oh yeah, they hammered it.
Huh. I've always wondered about that because I see
I
them.
bought twice as much this year.
They feed it in Canada like crazy, but I don't see that down here as much. I don't know. It's just interesting.
I took it from the Iowa guys. You know, the guys that are on serious feeding programs. They're like, dude, the minute you can, alfalfa.
Oh,
bales.
they're feeding alfalfa out there. Okay, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah. Well, that's interesting. That's a good one. All right, we'll let you run. Thank you. Ooh, I keep hitting our audio's all jacked up now, but hey, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it. Stay in touch, and we'll see you soon. Good luck.
Awesome, buddy. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this one. We'll see you on the next one.